York City's legendary theater district is home to the world's most beloved shows. Architects Mancini, Duffy, and PBDW have literally mastered the art of collaboration, bringing the Palace Theater to dazzling new heights. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Robin, how are you?
I'm
Great to see you.
great. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Welcome to the lobby of the Palace Theater in Times Square.
My first question, where's the theater?
Well, it's actually 30 feet above us right now.
What?
Correct.
I don't understand.
Well, this lobby used to be on Times Square.
Okay.
The problem is it was blocking what potentially is some of the best and coolest retail and experience space in the world. The way to access that and unlock it was to take the theater and actually lift it up 30 feet in the air.
How the heck did you get a theater up 30 feet in the air?
So we actually scooped out a cellar and a sub-cellar below the theater. We put a ring beam around the entire theater. And then we had to carve out space above in which for the theater to go.
It just sounds so complex. I mean, how did you get all of that accomplished?
Well, the biggest challenge is it had never been done before. So we couldn't just call the last people that did this.
There's no theater lifting guy that you can call.
No, this whole project, everything was invented. So we had an incredible team of people, starting with Severu, the structural engineer, who did an amazing job of coordinating all these things and coming up with this, all the way to the carpets for Shaw Contract Hospitality.
So Lisa, the Palace Theater is really quite famous.
It's actually the most famous out of all of the Broadway theaters. Going way back to 1913, everybody wanted to play at the Palace. We started out as vaudeville, moved to movies, and back to live performance. And then in 1965, the Nederlander organization purchased the theater and converted it into a legitimate Broadway house. Such incredible powerhouses throughout history have performed on this stage. Sarah Bernhardt and Ethel Barrymore and Bob Hope, Houdini, and most notably Judy Garland.
Did the Broadway community have a little say in this project or some input?
The project was watched over thoroughly by the Landmarks Preservation Commission, who oversaw every single aspect to make sure that the integrity and the legacy of the Palace Theater was protected.
I've heard there's some really famous history with these stairs.
That is correct. These are very famous stairs. These are what we call the Judy Garland stairs. She's one of our most storied performers, so we've chosen to name the stair after her. When we walked through these three stairs here, we just walked through about 100+ years of architectural history with the original Palace Theater stair transferring into a brand new constructed stair as part of the new theater's overall massing. We're now standing on the 4th floor mezzanine bar, but it is inside the historic theater. So underneath all of these finishes is the historic material of the Palace Theater. Beyond it, everything is new, brand new construction.
Yeah, now I understand Mancini Duffy comes together with PBDW. You guys had to work together in collaboration. What was that partnership like?
PBDW was the historic restoration architects, so they handled everything that happened inside the historic box. Mancini Duffy was responsible for all of the supporting spaces. As we were walking up the stair, there is the vertical graining pattern of that wall covering. That's a Wolf Gordon wall covering that we worked very closely with them on.
All the coordination that had to go together. I mean, it sounds like you just nailed it.
There's certainly a lot of criteria and a lot of opinions that resulted in what you see when you're standing on the corner of 47th and 7th Avenue. Part of that is signage requirements. So the main sign that you see on 7th Avenue, that was all done in coordination with S&A Displays. They were a great partner for us to work with in that process that was extremely technical.
You guys really managed to nail this with all of that complexity.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a major slam dunk when you're standing here in this space, and every part of it feels so wonderfully interwoven that you wouldn't even necessarily know how many different eras and epochs and people were involved in the overall design.
So we're talking about a restoration and a renovation.
Yes, that's right. So we have original historic elements that we preserved and restored and brought them back to their original. We were able to go back to original information from the New York Times from opening night in 1913 to see what the color palette was. So we used what was described as the ivory and the gold bronze color for the wall finishes, and I came up with this idea of this this dark blue color to offset the glow and really make the other finishes glisten with the new details. We worked with Irwin Seating to have this custom colored seating.
Very plush, by the way.
Yes, it is. Very comfortable. We also have custom end panels that are Art Deco. So all of the elements that were added over time are in the Art Deco design. So we worked with that with our referential designs.
Wow, guys, this is incredible. I have to know, what are your favorite spots in this theater?
For me, it's probably definitely the trap room. It's actually directly below us. It's where all the crew and the actors are originating from when they come onto the stage. All around the perimeter of the trap room, you're seeing the new architecture, the ring beam holding the historic architecture all in one spot, and you can still see that history there.
For me, I'd have to say being up on the upper mezzanine, because that's now the closest you can get to the ceiling, where we can see, you know, all the pendentives with the instruments, the violins and the lyres, and the putti are up close, and with the new chandelier, everything really just glows.
One of my favorite spaces in the theater is the follow spot booth. It was formerly located at the rear of the balcony. And what we did is we installed a whole new floor inside the attic above the ceiling. It's larger than most New Yorkers' apartments. It's truly a very special space on all of Broadway.
Okay, Bill, what's your favorite spot?
The escalator.
Ah, I knew it. All of these places in this theater, and that's your choice.
The escalator, listen, at first it represents the transition from the ground floor lobby to the beautiful new third floor lobby. It was also one of the most complicated pieces of this building to put together. Getting that all in there with ceiling heights was a pretty amazing accomplishment. We're pretty proud of it.
You know, just going back to what you were saying, Bill, about how there was really no lift guy to call. And this happened. You are the people to call now for next time you have to lift a building 30 feet up in the air, right? You're the lift gang. Bravo.
Thank you.
Architects Mancini, Duffy, and PBDW literally pulled off what many would have thought to be impossible. Not just elevating a landmark, but literally transforming a Broadway experience for every guest to walk through those doors.